Hey y'all, Galen here from Gathering of Gachas. So despite me calling myself a sound guy, or even the sound guy, this episode you're about to hear unfortunately had a number of intermittent audio issues due to the ongoing technical problems in my office. As of the time of this opening statement recording, I've actually solved those problems and things should be back to normal from here on out. But we decided it was a more prudent action to actually release the episode regardless of some of these problems and just warn you guys. It's been way too long since we've been able to get a real episode out. So, unfortunately, you guys are going to be hearing some pops throughout, and I did what I could to edit out as many of those as I could. And unfortunately, I just couldn't get them all. It was just too pervasive throughout the entirety of the recording. So we're releasing it anyway. I apologize for the audio quality, but next week, we should be back to 100%. Thank you guys so much for your continued support, and next week is going to sound way better, I promise. Enjoy the episode, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome back, finally, to Gathering of Gachas, the only podcast that focuses exclusively on the games your parents don't want you to play. My office did not want us to record this episode, and I beat it into submission. I'm Galen, the sound guy Firestone.
Oh, right, that's my turn. Because
Yes.
Kate isn't here with us, so I'm Ranakel.
And I'm Dez.
Yep. My gear is currently being held together by wishes, prayers, and quite possibly some duct tape, but I have no idea. So, it's been very difficult getting myself into a position where I even could record this thing again, as Rana was so kind to put an episode out detailing last week. A little mini update. But we are back!
And my internet is down, but thanks to 4G, I can do it from my phone.
Yeah, this is like almost the most technical difficulties we've ever actually had. My office is a disaster area. Rana has no internet. Kite's mic is absolutely destroyed. It's like, oh my god, can we please get an episode out?
And
Somehow
meanwhile,
I'm the only one with no tech issues. Cross your fingers.
Yeah, I know,
yeah,
right?
well, bleep you, okay?
Bleep you is right.
But in spite of the hurricanes, the tides, and the fires, we are here to bring you the latest news in a variety of gacha games.
Yep. And we're going to
Yes,
start...
indeed.
And we're going to start, like always, with the FFBE recap of the week. Oh, man.
Of the week?
Of the month at this point, right?
Yeah.
Just about.
Ugh. I'm so sorry, guys. All right.
But I think regarding the Valentine's unit, since we had the news about their existence, we can safely not really focus on them, especially since a couple of them are time limited.
Yeah. I hear Nichol's pretty good, but I don't really hear much about any of them kind of standing out in general.
Yeah.
From what I heard, they were a lot better in JP than they are on Global at the moment.
Well, in
Yeah,
terms
so
of...
you never know, maybe they'll be upgraded at some point.
Maybe?
Yeah, and there was this weird bit of messaging where they were presented as global original, but it's the same unit, but it's a different unit. It was kind of confusing in that aspect.
You want my honest take on this?
If you can say it.
I mean, I can. I think this was a last-minute rush decision by Square to put it out in Japan. I think these were just meant to be global original to begin with, and then put out in Japan later, and then at the last minute they decided, oh, we should put this out in Japan too.
Yeah. That
sounds fair.
seems like a reasonable guess.
Yeah, it just felt like that, the way it was... Like, it was presented to us first, but they came out at the same time. One, that basically never happens, and two, it just felt so cobbled together. I don't know, that's my impression of how that played out.
So basically, your headcanon is that Japan said, hey, can I copy your homework? Sure, make sure to change things a little bit so it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, you know what? That's a very good way of putting it.
Thank you.
Now,
Another thing that was quickly part of the Valentine's event to and that affected most players, is that there were some unusual rewards that awaiting them.
Okay, how unusual is unusual?
I'm talking about crafting materials for the Ring of Domination. Not the entirety of it, but we got a cold star and another one of those materials, I believe.
Oh, wow. That is very
Interesting.
Yeah. It won't get you any closer to the actual recipe, but it's nice that you... as a reminder, these ingredients you get as a byproduct for crafting some of the ring accessories as a very, very, very low drop chance.
I think I actually may have gotten some of those way back whenever I was crafting, and I was like, what in the world is this for? And I think I actually just sold it because I had no idea what it was for.
Oh, no!
There's no way I ever would have finished the ring, but just the fact that I think I got some just randomly, kind of nuts.
Oh, man. Oh, man, this coffee is terrible. Sorry, trying a new brand of nitrous-infused non-dairy coffee drink.
Okay.
Sounds like not actually coffee.
They got the coffee part right and everything else wrong. It's like fake sugar, fake milk. It's all like hipster, and it's so just... The taste itself is fine, but then there's an aftertaste that's just like chemical, which is weird because there's not supposed to be any of that in here. It tastes like I'm drinking coffee, milk, and Nichols.
My earpiece is dictating me that it's the Ring of Dominion and not Domination.
Fair enough. I can't tell the difference between them anymore. They're a bunch of old rings.
Although the Ring of Dominion is still very good for like tanks and supports and stuff.
That's the 20% hit points, 20% defense one?
The Dominion is the one that's like 50% to a bunch of things.
Yeah.
The big
Basically, the slightly worse Ring of the Lucia.
Right. Gotta love how that goes. Oh, where was I? Before I got distracted by bad coffee. Yeah, no, that's actually really cool. I kind of like the fact they gave those out. Because the Ring of Dominion is starting to get very outpaced. It really is only good for certain units at this juncture, so...
Yeah, and you still have to do all of the, 70 achievements, some of them pretty crazy, to get the recipe in the first place. So it's still a very far-fetched goal, but with a little drop here and there, it's nice to have it be just this tiny bit closer.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you never really expect to get unless you're a crazy person who farms it, and I've known a couple people who've done this.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm just like, all right, I get it. I don't love it, but I get it.
I mean, if they want to spend all of their time in FFBE going for that, then more power to them, man.
I know, right?
Exactly. Let's go. Now then, there was also the FF3 event.
Right. This was Xande, CG, Onion Knight.
Yes,
and...
CG character, generic character class.
Yeah. Ugh.
And Xande as a free unit.
CG Luneth when?
Indeed. I mean, honestly, if it drops, I'll probably get 5 of them, considering I have literally 8 Dark Knight Luneths.
How many regular Luneths do you have?
Sorry?
How many regular Luneths do you have? The OG one?
Oh, just 2.
Okay.
I remember getting 5 Dark Knight Luneths very shortly after he dropped. Nuts.
Yeah, that banner really hated me for some reason, but I also I didn't pull on it, so I ended up with 1 Onion Knight Refia after the fact, and that made me super happy because I like her, and then kind of nothing after that.
Yeah, but regarding the current event, you'll forgive me if I can't give you the hottest takes on exactly the details of the units, because again, no internet, I can't check. I already know that Xande, even as a free unit, is kind of meh, and that I heard Hein is basically on a free unit level, except he's joining the many final boss dark mages that aren't actually all that good.
Wait, Hein is a... I'm
Yes.
confused. Is he
No,
a base 5?
He's not the free unit. He
Right.
is on the banner.
Is he a base 5
It's
or
a-
base 4?
Base 5.
Of all the people to make a base 5, why that guy? Never mind.
What's interesting before, if you have the information, one of us get to CG Onion Knight himself,
Yeah,
is that they did it as a split banner, but a great one, actually.
a great split banner. I didn't think that was an actual thing that could happen.
25k. The last step gets you a random rainbow of any kind, but you
Alright.
also get a ticket. You can trade the ticket for your choice of Hein or CG Onion Knight.
Wow, that actually works really well.
Yeah,
I'm all for
it's
that.
perfect.
Also, no one's getting high.
100%. Like, it's a split banner where you choose the guaranteed one.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, that is cool.
I hope we'll see this model repeated on banners where the choice actually matters and it's not one right option and one very wrong option.
Yeah. Although, yeah, no one's ever getting Hein, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless
Onion
it's
Knight.
like the random rainbow.
Yeah.
I imagine there's just this one, the one Hein fine boy in the world going, but what about me in the distance? But aside from him.
Yeah. I like, here's the thing. Hein, out of all of the bosses in FF3, I barely remember this one. But hey, at least he's not split with Cloud of Darkness. If Onion Knight was split with Cloud of Darkness, that would be a real problem.
Yeah, that would be a real choice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, split banners were never very nice.
No.
Because it's like, maybe you want one character on the banner and you don't want the other one, whether that's your love for the character or, it's just the fact that, the other one of them was better than the other. Either way, it always felt kind of bad when you got the one that you didn't want.
Yeah. Onion Knight is...
Onion Knight himself. Does anyone have the...
yeah, I'm looking at it. Very strong elemental, aerial ray, stardust ray, and onion slice. Onion slice chainer. Yeah, it just looks very on the nose for Onion Knight. He stabs things really good. He does have some pretty great debuffs. His Stardust Ray elemental chains also come with an auto cast next turn, decrease elemental resistance 90% for 2 turns. So
cute.
Oh, actually on the 3rd turn it becomes 120%. So it's actually a very cool stacking
yeah, it ramps up. Nice.
Good TMR and STMR, both giving attack when dual wielding. Equipment attack when dual wielding, excuse me.
Nice.
And yeah, just an all-around strong DPS chainer with some pretty cool debuffs. And some self-buffs, but that isn't really the big, critical thing.
Right.
Yeah, so if you get him off banner, it's pretty nice, but I certainly didn't chase for him.
Yeah, if you are a big Dissidia fan, and I'm going to say Dissidia fan because he is not the star of FF3, if you're a big Dissidia fan and want this guy, awesome, enjoy him. If not, he's good, he'll serve you well, but I don't really feel like mechanically he's anything too special. He's very good, but you could live without him. Yeah.
And that leads us to the next week banner and event.
Now we're talking my language. I love this girl.
Oh, yes, same. Madame Edel.
Finally!
At last.
Yeah, I know she was super delayed in Global compared to the release date that she had in JP.
Because she was very strong at launch, but now she's going to be strong for a shorter amount of time.
Right.
Yeah, but... Well, for one thing, I love her STMR to death. Like, that's just nice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, high attack on
55
clothes,
base attack.
plus extra attack on top. It's like, alright, that's pretty nice. And just stop resist. That's neat.
It's very solid.
Yep.
And
I've always liked Edel.
It's very restrictive in how you build it, but if you can build it right, it's 70% base attack. Nothing to scoff at either.
Yeah.
You're not unhappy to equip it on your madame if you don't have a...
Yeah, it's not like a whiff spot. Like, you're going to get something out of it by doing it, for sure.
I don't use it at the moment because she's maxed out without that, and I have her STMR. The banner was pretty nice.
Yeah. It looks like it's a solo banner, if I'm seeing this correctly.
Yeah. She's the only 5-star on it. And
Perfect.
she's not guaranteed at any steps, but you get 10, 10, and 20 currency. It's a 3-step banner.
Alright.
That you can loop up to 4 times. And with 40 currency, so 1 lap, which costs 12k, I think. Or 11, 3, 4, 12k. You can get 40 currency, which you can trade for her prism. So if you got one of her and the 40 currency, trade it for a prism, you have a 7-star.
There you go.
Okay.
If you have 80 currency, you can have her, period.
Okay. And how
Not
much
bad.
currency do you get for a full lap?
40.
Oh.
So 1 lap for the prism, 2 laps for her. And 2
That's
laps...
actually quite generous.
Yeah, I'm actually...
2 laps is less than a 25k. It's 40.
Right. How many... What's the limit for the number of times you can do the laps?
4.
Oh, so you... Unless you are supremely unlucky, you're basically guaranteed your STMR. If you do all 4.
Pretty much. Yeah, I was pretty unlucky because, as I've said many times before, I was holding out for her, and I spent away. First 2 lap, complete that. But I still could get her, but I certainly wasn't going to settle for just her 6-star, and I didn't feel like using a trust ticket, select summon ticket to get her to 7-star. So I did a couple more steps and got 3 of her in those 2 steps somehow.
Wow! Alright.
So that was an STMR, and then 60 extra currency that I blew on like Adamant toys for money. Because it's not like I'm going to use 2 of her. That would be greedy.
Yeah, maybe. But I'm not sure I hate it either.
I mean, she's awesome, so...
Yeah.
If you wanted to use 2 of her, I wouldn't hold it against you at all.
No. Well, then again, you do only get 1 of the gun, though, and we should probably talk about that.
Yes. And we don't have the gun yet. But coming up next update, so the 7th, I believe, we have the 4th and 5th floor of the Madame's Mansion dungeon.
I love how they just drop 4 and 5 at once. Like, alright.
Yeah, that's basically all that remains from Season 2, since that's where you collect the sector circles.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as you might recall, the Madame herself kills the boss automatically on the first visit in general.
Right.
But if you do it back again and kill it yourself, you get a gem, which was a fancy paper, right?
Right.
But if you get all 5 gems from all 5 bosses, killing them yourself, you can use the 5 of them to get a special gun. which is named Dear Edel, and which is high attack, Earth Elemental, which is good for her since she doesn't have to imbue, and is very good with Earth damage. And some special bonuses exclusive for her, which is like plus 50% HP and MP or something like that.
Right. Which is very nice.
So
I believe, according to this, it also gives a lot of bonuses to her actual moves.
Oh, yeah.
So that
Which
actually
is
gives her modifier
awesome.
increases, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It does, however,
Yeah.
lock her to Earth Element by the looks of it.
Yes.
So she is an Earth
She
chainer.
generally want to be Earth Element.
Yep.
She also have Dark, but a little less strong.
Yeah. But, yeah, she has a ton of Stardust Ray, Oriole Ray.
Yeah. Her main gimmick is that she has these modifiers which last for the whole fight or until she dies, which she doesn't do very easily because she has 2 stacks of guts.
Right.
And
So
when you get to a certain amount of turns in the fight, you unlock a new variation of essentially the same Stardust Ray attack, but it gets bigger and bigger on turn 9, 12. The modifiers get absurd for the attack itself and boost her main repeatable skill. And I've tasted it myself in the fight against Stone of Gilgamesh, where basically, after a couple of failures, decided, you know what, I'm just going to stand here nice and cozy in the first phase, which doesn't hurt too much. I'm going to do literally nothing but defend until we reach turn 15, and then I'm going to imbue Earth, eat the counters, and if I survive, use the biggest cooldowns I have available and burst him from 100 to 0.
and did it work?
Absolutely not. because the counters were a bit too spicy for the friend Edel, and eventually I grinded him to his next phase, and I did beat him, but not by using the strategy I wanted. Just
Whoops.
by failing to re-establish myself forward until he got dead.
Well, that's one way to do it.
It worked, and I got all my missions somehow, so yay.
Good job.
And the good thing is that... Yeah, thank you. The good thing is that while the boosts to her modifiers for her main attack are gone when she dies, as with all time-locked cooldown abilities, even if she's dead, when she comes back, the cooldown didn't reset to 0, so you at least have that.
Yeah. Yeah, you at least have that.
And of course, she also has some side utility as a finisher, because she can use her LB crest not only for her LB, which is pretty decent and also contributes to her modifiers, but also then you can use it to have an 80 modifier finisher attack. And since she's a true dual wield, you use it twice. So that's some spicy punches.
That is spicy.
Like
I like this. I am pleased with this, in fact. That sounds great.
So yeah, I'm waiting eagerly for her gun to fully unleash her potential.
Yeah, I was always a big fan of Edel. Just whenever you go into that first mansion fight, and then she just, one punches the boss, and then you end up having to go back in and kill it yourself, and it takes you so long just to kill the thing whenever it was first released. Just that in and of itself just really made her really cool in my eyes.
Yeah, no, she's
a really cool design.
Yeah, she's a very standout character. I've liked her from the beginning. I've liked her attitude. I've liked her story. I've liked her design. She's always made me happy.
The event itself is pretty cute too.
And I got to be honest, her dungeon was some of my favorite content in Season 2. There was something about it that just made me happy, and it worked a lot better for me than Bahamut's Isle did.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So yeah, knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, if you like her, she is very, very strong. There is one person in my Discord who absolutely despises her and refuses to allow anyone to be happy pulling her. I'm calling you out, friend. Stop. We like her. Deal with it.
My only complaint, which came back from when she was first revealed in JP, is that she probably could have been a CG unit.
It feels like that probably was the initial intent, especially since in Japan she was one of the early Summon Fest non-CG units. But they have been fairly stingy with their budgeting when it comes to CG units. I've noticed there's some that probably should have. Like, some of the main villains would probably have been very good for CG stuff.
But Soul was too icky, so they couldn't CG him.
Yeah, Soul, they didn't CG any of the mainline villains. Like, how cool would CG X-Death have been? Or CG Kefka? Imagine a Light of Judgment in CG. That would have been awesome.
Oh, boy.
Indeed.
And I feel like, despite this, we are probably going to get a CG Sephiroth, because you know that would, like, sell like hotcakes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for all we know, it may release around the time of the FF7 remake.
So never?
Wouldn't be surprising. If it ever comes out, yes.
Yeah, no, and it's important to point that out, because when it comes to CG units, we've had the cycle of CG FF protagonists.
Yeah.
But they've done the 15 mainline ones now in JP.
Yeah.
Because Van came out.
Well, they've also done two of the side characters. They've done Ace from Type 0, and they've done Sarah from 13-2. I feel like CG Ramza is forthcoming at some point as well.
Absolutely, but after him...
After him, who knows?
They'll have to find something else to sink their CG budget into.
Yep. Maybe we'll finally get the proper CG villains we've deserved.
CG Cloud of Darkness, anyone?
That would be bouncy. The version they're likely to use would be very bouncy. Possibly
You're
NSFW.
Not wrong.
Possibly NSFW. They may have to adjust their rating to M. But then again, they could use the Green Monster version, which would actually be really awesome in CG now that I'm thinking about it. God, I want that. I want the actual FF3 final boss / FF14 raid boss Green Monster CG Cloud of Darkness. I want that one. Oh my god, I want that. Okay, well, now that you've blown my mind, thanks.
You're welcome.
That raid boss was so fun. I have a puff of darkness. I'm so happy.
Now, when it comes to CG content, what we did get was Asura at 2-star, which is nice. Haven't tried that fight just yet. I'm waiting until I can unleash my full power. But from what I heard, it's basically the same fight as the first one, but with bigger stats.
I mean, that's fine by me. The first fight was about as perfect a fight as ever been in this game.
That's probably one of the best fights in the game.
I think it is the best fight in the game. It certainly was my favorite when I played through it.
Yeah. It's very fun, very technical, but you have to stay vigilant. It's great, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Pretty much. So
yeah, that was one fight where if you weren't paying attention, they punished you for it.
Yep. I guess the FFBE TLDR is Valentine's equals blah, FF3 equals, hey, it'll do work for you and be pretty good, and Edel is, like, makes people smile. So, like, and has an STMR piece of gear exclusive to her that drastically improves her ability, which is a really, really big advantage. If anything, that actually makes Edel very newbie-friendly.
Yeah. I mean, besides her STMR, which is ideal, unless you have something like Carton's STMR, which fills its own niche, The rest is pretty newbie friendly.
Yeah. I mean, you could get away with original Luna's STMR as well if she likes clothes.
Yeah. And I did push it a little. I used a couple of select 7 tickets to get Monk Sabine STMR.
Nice.
The coin with 60% face power. And then I used another prism to get Olive's STMR, which also helps with the gun. Problem. I thought I had 3 Olives. I wrote in FFBE Equip I had 3 Olives. I already had 4.
No!
That stung a bit.
Oof! Oof! That's an oof! I'm sorry!
Whoops.
It is an oof.
Yeah, that's a big
That's
one.
who we are.
Oh.
Well, one step closer for my second STMR.
I guess. I don't know what you're going to do with the second Sparky, but, I mean, hey, make use of it.
STMR. Well, her STMR was the journal, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Sparky was
the
the
gun
TMR.
mastery?
I got
The
Olive
journal
and
gun
other
mastery.
Olive mixed up.
It had gun mastery and
40 attack,
Machine
I think.
Killer, probably.
yeah, I think I had extra machine killer too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was like 50% machine killer, 50% gun mastery, and 40 base attack, which is really nice. Like, that's still
But
very
in
relevant.
The meantime, the fun thing is that in the meantime, since I don't have the actual free items I want to equip on her as weapons, the next best things I had were very defensively statted ones. So she has like 15,000 HP.
Wow.
I mean,
which
she's
is more than my
pretty
willpower.
tanky naturally, right?
God, that is one hard to beat, madam. I am very okay with that.
Indeed.
Hey, if you can't beat them, join them.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying if you can't beat them, join them.
I don't get how that
Yeah.
pertains to her at all.
Never mind. It was a joke.
Okay. Like, that's what we're talking about. Okay. I'm confused. Hooray!
Now, when it comes to relevant units right now, there also have been a set of enhancement.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for water people that are going to cave faces in, you're in luck because both Jecht and Tifa are up to date.
Yeah, I'm looking at Tifa's enhancements, and they give her the chain cap modifier increase, which is kind of gigantic. They give her, it looks like that's a strong finishing move in the terms of Dolphin Blow, which also serves as an imbue. She still has DR chain frames. DR chain frames. So she's still DR, which is very old school.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, her modifiers skyrocket. She gets the chain cap increase, a lot of extra dual wield stuff.
Basically,
All status, a
she's
built-in
not at the
ribbon.
top. She's not at the top, but she's irrelevant.
Yeah, she'll do good for you if you already had her.
Yeah.
There are one King Grain levels, but with weirder frames.
Yeah. I almost feel like with Dolphin Blow being what it is, she might be a slightly better... No, that 20 times isn't a great finisher either. Good. 120% debuff on that's really nice, though. Yeah, she's pretty darn good. Yeah, I really have no complaints. These are just some great enhancements. Just, like, here, have more
That's
stuff
the
and
kind
more
of
stuff and more
enhancements
stuff.
we like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, enhancements making units relevant
That's kind of what
pretty
they're
much
for.
always been what you want.
Yeah.
They're almost never going to be the best because they always like to release new units who are going to power creep even the enhancements. But you know what? If you got them and you have the ability to enhance them, go for it.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did they buff her STMR? I don't remember it being 170. I feel like it was around 150 before.
It was always 171.
It was always 170? Okay, then I'm dumb. I swear that looked bigger to me.
I know because I checked for Edel and I was a bit sad because I do have 4 Tifa, so I could get the STMR, but Tiger Fence you get from Scorn of Beast of the Dark has 2 more attack.
Oh, that's a shame.
Ooh,
Yeah, she's pretty great. And then let's take a look at Jecht, because I was not prepared for the segment. I am sorry. All right, here's Jecht.
Son.
I know. It's been a week, guys.
What are you going to do? You gonna cry?
No, I'm just gonna kvetch about it because, that's what I'm gonna keep doing. And then I'm going to fix my crap and get back to life. Oh, hey, look.
good on you.
DR. More DR. All the DR.
Yeah, I was actually about to say whenever Rana was covering, whenever you were covering it, when how she was still DR, wasn't Jecht DR too?
Yeah.
So just the two of them both getting enhancements at the same time, brings DR back a little bit into the spotlight at least.
His double quick strike now.
Quick hit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely better than quick hit. Because
my word.
Oh, quick hit is awful.
Quick hit chaining was balls.
It was bad. It was bad. Yeah, these don't really jump out at me the same way. He does get very good both true dual wield and true double hand. Good hitting. It doesn't look like he gets the modifier, so he's still better off double hand, especially with the upgrade to double quick strike.
Yeah.
That said, between Jecht Rush and his passives, he's actually a really good chain partner for Tifa now.
And that's the thing. If there are newer players out there who have him, just the fact that he is flexible between being dual wielding and double hand, that can work to their advantage because they may not have the gear to adequately gear him one way or the other, but the fact that he has that ability to do one or the other, even if one of them is going to be better than the other, kind of lends itself to people who may not have as much gear.
Yep.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah, I like newbie-friendly characters, and I think Jecht is a really good newbie-friendly character, especially with these enhancements.
He always was good with the kids.
I will debate that very strongly, but yeah, sure.
I would have done it in my interpretation of his voice too, but I'm out for speed voiced for today.
I understand. Yeah, no, I'm pretty satisfied. Pretty satisfied with Jecht's. It's nothing incredible, but it'll get you there. And again, now he's a good chaining partner with Tifa, so if you really like one or the other, they're not left in the dust as these weird water DR chainers who don't have any friends. No, they're weirdly friends with each other. I don't understand how that happens. I will let the fanfic writers deal with that, but in terms
and that's probably why they put their enhancements out at the same time.
Yeah, that's also a very good point.
That's not a bad decision as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get some synergy between two overlooked characters. It's a good way to get people using them again.
Yeah, characters that never really had their time in the sun either.
Yeah, I used Tifa for a little while there, but then almost immediately after I got Wonder Twins, who was better than Tifa in just about every way, so,
Yeah.
I was very... Yeah. And now Wonder Twins are bad, which is a shame. I'm so sad about that. Now there's this newfangled Wonder Twins who can't even chain with the first set of Wonder Twins. You know what? I'm going to shut up about how much I don't like the Lunar New Year stuff this year.
Fair.
Let's just say I don't agree with a whole lot of those decisions, but I'm glad Tifa's good again. And on the subject of Tifa, we are recording this the day the FF7 Remake demo dropped, which is the closest we are ever going to see to this game actually existing. So there's a little bit of hype there. This timing probably factored in as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I am 100% okay with that kind of time.
Same here. Same here. And with that, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is Arknights. Hooray, Arknights! The game that got me back into gacha gaming.
Hard to imagine.
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't see this coming either, but it is still such a good game, and I've still spent that exact same $6 grand total on it. So I think, at least in terms of my spending, I'm under control for now. But we will see.
Yeah, and especially since it's been a stressful time for you.
Oh yeah,
The fact that it's still at the $6 and that's it is a really solid sign.
Yeah, no, I've been tempted. The temptation is there to just start throwing money at the banners because there is a character I really want on this banner. We'll talk about her in a minute. But
let's be honest, you probably burned enough money recently with all these new orders.
Oh my god, I'm up to like $5,000 trying to repair my office, and I don't think I'm over yet.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's not much more.
Yeah. We shall see.
Yes, we see. Yes, we shall.
Yep. With that in mind, let's go ahead and dive into the new things. And the biggest one is this new big old banner that just came out. They gave it some weird name, but we're just going to talk about the units. We have Chen, who is amazing. She's the 6-star on the banner. We have the repeat of Fire Eater, or F-Eater, but I call her Fire Eater. That's just sort of my nickname for her, because that makes sense. We have Swire, who's a very good melee buffer. And we have Gray, who is a shockingly good, haha. I didn't do that on purpose. For a 4-star, AoE mage. So,
and then we also have the 3-star Poppy Car on there as well.
Who is utterly pointless. She exists.
I mean, she could be good for people who need like a 2-block that does damage to both of them, but
you can literally...
If you're around for the launch, then you have Savage. Maybe people won't get her if they signed up later, but if you're around for the launch, you've got her, who's going to be better in.
Yeah, but you could also buy Fire Eater more or less for free, which is exactly what I did do. Like, you could just buy her for red tickets in the shop.
That's true. I would argue that, Poppy Card does fill a little bit different of a role. I guess her cost is similar, though, so I guess that there's that, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Fire Eater is still a block 2 hit 2. She just also has Keep Away. Like, she's basically that same kind of guard. She just has this extra push function, which, cool. And apparently there's a real wicked game of tag you can play that if you find a way to line her up with Cliffheart and just have them bouncing back and forth between each other.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go ahead and start from the bottom and work our way up. We have Gray, who is our first AoE slow unit. Or sorry, our second AoE slow unit. We have Shiryuki, who is, but only on her skill, while Gray does it 100% of the time. I like Gray a lot.
AoE slow sounds real good.
AoE slow is really good. Most of the slows in this game are single target. So having an AoE slow that actually stops enemy progression is wonderful. She also hits pretty decently, and her second skill, which is the better one, both increases her attack speed and improves the amount of time enemies are slowed for. So it just makes her all around excellent. I'm about to actually E2 her as soon as, get her to Elite 2 promotion as soon as I get a couple of extra mats. I have to do a little more farming, but I'm basically done. I have all the chips and I have all the levels, so I'm just waiting on those extra bits of stage detritus. I've talked about Fire Eater at length. I love this chick. She was one of my early units because I bought her in the shop. And she hits things real good. And she has high dodge. And, like, yeah, she's just an all-around excellent unit. And there was one review that said that she's only good when you want to dump people down pits. And I'm like, she has more to her than Sparta Kick, guys. She's actually really cool.
And she has pretty decent defenses, too. Sorry, what's that, Rena? I interrupted you.
Also, why don't you want to kick people into pits?
I mean, you absolutely can, and I use her for that all the time, but you could also use her for more than just that, is the point I'm trying to make.
And pits aren't always there.
Yeah.
So you can't always do it, because sometimes there just isn't a pit.
Yeah, sometimes there just isn't a pit in the stage. Which is fine. Not every stage has to have a pit, and on the stages that don't, she's still a very good officer to have.
Yeah.
But the fact that you can get her for free, and she's already on this banner at an increased rate along with Poppycar means you're probably never going to use Poppycar. Like, there's really no point if you even have Fire Eater.
That's fair.
Next we have Swire, who, man, the reviewers don't get how to use her. You take a static melee, someone like Fire Eater, or like Chen, or like Savage, or like Scotty, or basically anyone else. You stick Swire right behind her, or him, Silver Ash. Ooh, wow, that's a good point. Silver Ash, huh? Yeah, put someone behind Silver Ash, because that's a thing you could do. And basically let Swire buff them and be a support attacker at the same time.
And she doesn't have the disadvantage that Lapland and Silver Ash have, in that her ranged attacks do less damage. So you can freely put her behind somebody. And she also buffs the attack of people in the 8 squares next to her.
Right.
And when her skill 1 is, up, when you use her skill 1, that increases that range to be larger. Skill 2 would increase the effect of her talent, which means that instead of just getting, 3% or however much per she gives based on her elite level. Basically, it'll give extra attack to everybody in the range that are melee, specifically.
And that leaves the star of the show, Chen. And Chen is a thing.
Chen is amazing.
Oh my god. You look at Chen, just her raw stats, and you're like, a 6-star with only 400 attack? That seems really low. All of her regular attacks hit twice. All of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that is just built into her character. That requires no skills. She just double attacks everything.
Which
and then,
I believe also means that her attacks charge her skill twice as fast.
Yes.
I don't necessarily have confirmation on
that
that,
is
but I
correct.
That's what it means.
That is correct. And all of her skills do not charge by time. They charge by attacks. So you cut that number in half. Everything you see. So
What's
you
your
have
question, Rana?
If there are 2 enemies engaged with her in combat.
No, she only attacks one at a time.
Okay.
So she doesn't. She focus fires. She doesn't do what Fire Eater and what Poppycar and what Savage do, which is hit all of them at once.
2 at once, which could have been, but that's not the case.
Right.
Which is probably better.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's clearly meant as a boss killer because we're about to get into her skills. All right, her first skill, Sheath Strike. So it's actually a ranged skill. Throws the sheath to enemies in the next attack, dealing 260% of attack physical damage and stuns the target for 1.5 seconds. So, yeah, a second and a half of just you ain't moving. That's pretty neat.
I think that one's not a ranged skill. It's the second one that's a ranged skill.
Oh, it says throws the sheath, so I guess you're right. I'm not seeing a map on here. I'm reading it directly from the game, so it doesn't show a map.
Yeah. I'm looking at it on the on a site, and it just says on the next attack strikes with her sheath.
Okay, never mind. It said throws on here, so that's where I got confused. I apologize. So next we have Unsheath, which deals 410% attack of physical, and then 410% again on arts damage to at most 6 enemies in front of this unit. So basically, it's a giant AoE of death.
I like everything anyway.
Yeah. So she does physical and magic damage. But then there's her third skill, Shadowless.
Oh my.
Looks for the closest enemy around and launches strikes 10 times in a row, dealing 260% of attack physical for every strike, and stunning the target for 3 seconds on the last strike.
Oh,
and the AoE on it is not terrible, but you do obviously want to use that preferably on the boss of the stage or whatever, if there's a boss.
Basically, if a boss gets close to her, you have that up, you have Swire behind her, you launch that off, that boss is going to have a very bad day.
Indeed.
And that brings us...
2,600% damage is no joke.
No. That is probably the single highest hitting damaging attack in the entire game right now. And I don't see that actually changing considering how this game operates.
Yeah, probably not very soon.
No. Her job is to, once in a blue moon, not even once every 36, so that's actually 18 attacks. That's not bad at all for her.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you could launch that off a lot. Basically, her job is to focus fire a single unit until it is gone.
Or you can choose to have her on skill 2 if it's something like an Annihilation where there's a lot of enemies and you may want to kill a bunch at a time. You could have her on skill 2. So she's actually a very versatile unit.
Yeah.
And even with skill 1, it goes down to every basically 3 attacks. She stuns the enemy for 1.5 seconds.
Yep.
If you need a person who's going to stun pretty consistently, then that's a decent option, So she's actually got a lot of versatility, which is one really good reason to like her.
Yep. And she does have built-in attack 5, defense 5, and physical dodge 10%, which is nice. It's not make or break, but 10% dodge is not awful. I mean, that's extra survivability. Why not? And I think that's like her one weakness. She's kind of squishy. Her defense at Elite 2 is only 298, which is actually pretty light for a guard unit.
Fair. Yeah.
But yeah, that's one weakness. That's one con amongst a ton of pros. And generally speaking, her whole game is the best defense is a good offense. Because she will absolutely rock the enemy if you give her half a chance to.
Absolutely.
And then, pop Swire behind her and have her, second in command hang out. And they are an awesome team. So yeah, Chen is the real star of the banner. She is absolutely phenomenal. I want her so bad. I've thrown several pulls at this thing and I've got Swire. I got enough Graze to max out her potential, which is hilarious. And Fire Eater's almost at max potential as well, which is great. I actually have her talent up, so she actually has more dodge now, which is wonderful.
Nice.
But yeah, I want the star of the show badly.
Chen is, just with her versatility and the amount of power she brings to bear, is a really nice unit.
Yeah, if you need melee, go for her. You will not be disappointed. I like her a lot better than Scotty, who is the prior 6-star melee unit.
Yeah, and the thing about this game, if you're farming your weekly annihilations and doing all of that, then you can get a pretty decent amount of pull currency. Yep. Obviously, you also want to be doing all of your daily and weekly missions because that's got pull currency on it too. But if you're doing a good job keeping up with your missions, keeping up with your annihilations, all of that, you're going to be able to build up some savings if you want to go for people. So
yeah.
Don't worry too much about going for people that you want, as long as you're building up those savings.
Yeah, it's super free to play. It's super free to play. It's super free to play friendly if you are doing the work and you're putting in the work. Yeah, I like this banner a lot. This has got a lot of power, a lot of utility. More utility than power. I think everyone here is kind of like, we're here to support Chen. Fire Eater and Chen herself are definitely the main attackers of the bunch. I don't think Swire's ever going to be in that position, but that's okay. She doesn't have to be.
Yeah. And she does a good job, not just buffing Chen, but other melees that you may want to put down.
Yeah.
She does a great job with that, too.
Yeah. So that makes her very, very, very good. And I highly approve of this banner. It's very worth pulling on. If you guys see something on there you like, you probably will.
Yep. I will say one thing that I don't like as much about the game, but you can't like everything.
Yeah.
Is just the amount of resources that it takes to get any units up to high levels. Getting units up to Elite 2 is a big process. So it's going to take some commitment. But if you are, somebody who's free to play or mostly free to play, I would definitely recommend getting your 5 or 6 stars up to Elite 2 as a higher priority generally, just because they're gonna get more oomph for your extra effort that you're putting in.
Yeah.
You want a diverse roster, but you need to have at least one group of units that just pack the punch you need.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I saw one recommendation, I think it's pretty good, of getting, basically a solid team, kind of a core team up to around Elite 1, level 40.
Yeah.
That's kind of going to be your basis for a lot of different things. And then once you have that solid team up to Elite 140, then go ahead and start going for, at least specific units for Elite 2. And I do recommend planning out ahead of time, just because it does require so many resources in order to get units up to that Elite 2.
One thing we kind of recommend is that you kind of look at the way to upgrade people to Elite 2 is via chips, and those come in, like, every stage can drop one of 2 different kinds of chips. Pick characters across those lines. So if you want to promote a sniper, have a sorcerer in your back pocket, since that stage drop both of those kind of chips, that you're like, I could also promote you. Just so you're like, that way you're getting chips for both at the same time, and it's helpful for efficiency's sake.
Sure. And if you don't have that, that mage at the time, you can always save those chips.
Yeah.
If you are, more free to play, then it's probably better to save the chips generally than to convert them to the ones you need, just because that's going to be that much more that you're going to need to spend on a different unit later.
And then on top of that, there's also a loss in that you trade in 3 of one kind of chip for 2 of another, and I mean you just lost a whole stage run at that point. So
believe that at some point in the future there's going to be this unit that comes out of what you like in that class.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is pretty much a guarantee, especially the way this game works. So yeah, always pay attention and never, ever underestimate your weirdos, because, my God, sometimes you get a weirdo like, oh, this is a strange class, and they end up being the best thing ever. So, like, keep an eye out for that. One of the characters I just got is this supporter, as they call her, named Mayor. And her whole job is just summoning a bunch of little robots around the field that don't take away from your deploy limit. And that makes her very, very interesting indeed.
And then she can blow them all up.
She can blow them all up.
And later put them down again.
Yep. So, pay attention to that, because that gets very fun. You never know what weirdo unit is going to be the perfect thing for whatever strat you're trying to play.
Absolutely, and that's really part of the great thing about this game, that we've all been playing this and kind of, bouncing strats off of each other, and like just seeing the really diverse strats that we've been employing on the same stages is really satisfying, just to see that you can employ one of so many different strategies and still get that win out.
Yep. Which is great. It's a good mind bender, which I think is one of the things I really love about the game, and it's so friendly, because if you don't pass a stage, they give you all but one of your sanity back, or your stamina in this case. They call it sanity in this game. They give you all but one back, so you're not really losing anything if you lose. That really incentivizes you to try it on your own and not use, like, guide videos or something. It's a really satisfying experience that I wholeheartedly recommend.
And I think with that, we're done with Arknights, so how about we go on to Valkyrie Anatomia? Rana, take it away.
Valkyrie Anatomia. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to be a bit quicker than usual on each individual event.
Let's do it.
There's like 6 of them.
Oh, of course there is.
That sounds like Valkyrie.
Yeah. So, to be fair, it's been 3 weeks. But we start with Breath of the Beast Part 2, which was the event that started with Demon Alfio, and in the line of the one with Black Rose Senna as well, where the weird alternate reality version of people started wanting to kill Lenef, and suddenly Aelia came into play. But it's not any Aelia, as we learned early in the event. It's Arbiter Riss Aelia.
That's the big red angry one, right?
Yeah, the big red angry one on all fours that's big and red and angry and can't swim, which is a problem when she's chasing people in a ship graveyard. Which is exactly what happens, because as it turns out, she's against Dark Flower Senna and Demon Alfio, not with them.
Interesting.
Enough that at some points Kokuyo also comes into play, and between chasing Lenef and Hakurai and pursuing the two of them, she's pursuing Demon Alfio and Dark Flower Senna. Because apparently, as it turns out, revealed in parts between this event and the next one, which is direct continuation of the storyline, they are more or less one of the reasons their own worlds was destroyed or ruined, not completely obliterated. It's part of the cause that everything went terrible where they are. But Demon Alfio and Dark Flower Senna aren't alone, as revealed by the next event, the Scarlet Gaze, where they are actually working for a red-clad Valkyrie named Shakugan, with this big glowy red eye, and she's wearing a scythe, and it's all very, very edgy design.
Okay.
Okay, so eventually getting backed against the corner by Team Arbiter Wrist. The two of them are saved by their employer, which is Shakugan, which is this masked red Valkyrie with very edgy design, save wielder, and has this I am the end of all things kind of feel to her.
Okay.
Also, she appears by basically making part of the screen completely pitch black, distort and emerging from it. It's a pretty cool effect.
Okay.
And basically she's the ones that told them that they could have another crack at life if they kill Lenef. And Arbiter Wrist and Kokuyo aren't happy about it.
Right, because they're doing this other thing to use Lenneth to save their world or something like that.
Yeah, and Hakurai. But at this point, while she's been mentioned, she's basically been moved back to a second order priority, which is very strange given how insistent they were before.
Okay. Interesting.
And eventually, the fight goes on. Lenef accepts to team up, which means that she gets a good old strike right in Shakugan's face, which makes a mask fly off, and reveals that it is indeed somebody we've never seen before behind it. Anyway, as for Shakugan herself, she's the unit of the banner.
Okay.
And she is a staff wielder, technically. The scythe is a staff, Dark Elemental, and she mostly uses melee attack, but that's used for magic stats. And some of her attacks are non-elemental, kind of like a Dark Next Mistina we've seen before.
Okay.
She is very solid. Her
Okay.
utility is pretty much non-existent, but her war power is through the roof. And while there isn't any new other unit on this banner, she's the only star of it, you can also get Kokuyo and Dark Flower Senna in the artifact pool for her banner. Next, we have the Valentine's campaign with the coming soons. They came!
Yay!
And it was actually some good stuff.
Oh, okay.
So, first coming soon was pretty simple. There's an item to trade, and you can get some of the seals, which work like TMR Muggles. So that's a nice bonus, and you get a cute sticker.
Okay.
And the second one, that's very good because it's a couple of bundles. Remember the first part of the Valentine's event, there were these uniform costumes for some characters. Well, it turns out there's also 2 alternate versions of units in these very same costumes, except they're full units.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and when you buy a bundle, you get the unit. You don't get a chance to have the unit, you get the unit for 10,000 gems. Not paid gems, not real money, not special extra exclusive things, no, just 10,000 gems, get a unit, earn her orb, and the way to get her to level 99 right away.
Wow.
Randomness, no. Yeah. Sure, they're not top tier units, but they're usable.
I mean, it's like, here, have a unit. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah. And there's 2 choices. There's the schoolgirls version of Rebecca and Senna.
Okay.
And to give an idea about the power level, it's a bit below arbitrary, so it's starting to get a bit old. So, as I said, it's not going to top of any charts, but if you want a safe options, there was no better safe options than these ones. Really liked it. Now then, there also was some main scenario advancements. Well, it's weird because it looks at first like a bit of a side story where you're following this old man in a storm, and there's this kid that's asking questions, and they're hiding from the storm in a cave, and it all gets very non sequitur given how intense things were last chapter.
Right.
Turns out that's because it's 70 years in the future, given how long Shield II has reigned, that the old man roaming the earth and doing nothing useful is Odin in all but confirmation, because he tells this tale about how Odin decided to roam the earth because when he drank from the well of Mimir, he got the wisdom to learn that he was weak and powerless.
All right.
And that this is him roaming the earth being useless, as pretty much the gods as a whole are in the twilight. So yeah, very solid story. And it implies that the following chapters will return and move back in time with essentially future Odin as the storyteller.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Now then, of course we couldn't have a series of events without talking about a Valhalla Defense.
Oh, of course not.
This time with Frosty as a unit. And it ties into the next point because the NieR Automata collaboration doesn't have its own story event. So it rides as part of the Valhalla Defense too. Because that's how you get the duplicates for the virtuous contracts you get.
Huh.
And that's even where the free unit trial to test 2B before you try to pull for her is.
Well, that's interesting. They put her in the Valhalla Defense. Not as the free unit or anything, but just in it in general. That's an interesting choice.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Yes.
Sure.
I'll say, though, that it doesn't appear to be all that busy. To give you an idea, since I pretty much these days, and since the premium special ultra rare units got out of hand, decided to only focus on story content, I've done that, and Valhalla Defense are not story content. But I did like 4 stages today. I am rank 3,832.
All right.
It's not a lot of players.
No, that really isn't.
No, it's not.
And by the way,
Like
this is...
Valkyrie Anatomia might be dying?
Yes.
I think we've been kind of like anticipating that for a while now, and this is kind of
And now we have numbers, pretty much.
not great ones.
Especially since that's on the last day. There's only 3 hours left in the event when I did that.
Wow.
Oh, that's usually when everyone's rushing.
Yeah, especially since there's this collab that's part of it too.
Yeah.
But talking about the collab itself, as I said, you get a free Virtuous contract in the mail, which is just a weapon. And if you want the duplicates to get it max levels, it's in the Valhalla Defense rewards. And there's no story event. There's no, oh, look at that, you landed this world and have a surprisingly good story. It's just the katana and the unit in a banner.
That's
At the very least, what I will say is that it is a 100% normal banner. It's a normal step up like any other one, no other artifact to dilute the pool, no special conditions, no premium shenanigans, just a normal old banner that lasts for like 3 weeks. And then they had to ruin it.
I was about to say, it sounds like an oh boy coming.
There the butt was very implied.
And
not 2B's butt.
No, to be clear, I wrote that part in my notes when it was exactly all it was. But today we had a news, which had amongst it a special offer. Which was, hey, if you buy Special Pack 3 or Special Pack 4, you get entered into a raffle. You get 5 winners for each region, which will get a ticket you can trade for artifacts of characters such as Arbiter Wrist, Creation Valkyrie, Calamity God Lizard, Progenitor God Sephiroth, Aelith the Shackled, Celestial Armor Wilfred, or indeed 2B.
What?
The special packs 3 and 4 are those that get you 10,000 gems and either a legendary weapon for one or a bunch of 3-grade exclusive branches items, things like that. They're 19 euros. 90 euros.
90?
Yes, 90.
What?
Probably over $100. To get entered into a chance to be one of the 5 in your region to get this.
Oh, that is shameless. That is a cash grab if ever I saw one. That hurts me.
Overall, the whole event really kind of feel like it with the lack of story event. It just slap the head on 2B on the icon and have her be a unit. You be a unit and we'll make money off you.
Pretty much.
And she's a decent unit. She's a sword unit, good damage, nice animation, no pattern involvement, unfortunately. But that's just what it is.
Yeah.
I still tried to get her and failed too. So now I've got 7 laps in and nothing to show for it, besides a bunch of weapons.
That is brutal. That is brutal.
At least I found comfort in the arms of Madame Edel in another game.
Yeah.
A game that probably won't die in 6 months.
I mean, considering how, like, desperate they seem, I would be very surprised if Valkyrie lasts 6 months at this late juncture.
Yeah. No, I wasn't talking about Valkyrie when it came to 6-month survival chances.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, there's a last bit as well, which is pretty neat. It's an event about Benelus from Valkyrie Profile First of the Name.
Bananas?
Benelus. Benelus.
Benelus. Oh, okay. I'm like, You were like, bananas is what I heard, and I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense unless we're doing another joke event, and I still haven't forgiven them for their first joke event that ended in horrible murder and tragedy.
No, that one seems like it's going to involve horrible murder and tragedy.
Well,
So
yeah,
don't
but
worry
it's
about
not a joke event to start with. It's not a, like, if
Yeah,
you're dealing
no.
with someone like Benelus, someone or someplace, I forget what Benelus is. I am brain dead.
He's the guy dressed in black, very noble, uses a sword.
Right, yes, that, okay. I now remember exactly what you're talking about. Okay, oh, he made the cut.
Excellent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
good for
and he
him.
made the cut pretty late, which means he's actually pretty powerful too. Like
Right on.
he's on the T level of Awakened Lenneth. And as far as the story even go, we only have the first part for now. But it's basically a Benelus train his hardest to raise as many death flags as possible. Like, oh, here I am in Seraphic Gate. Here is two groups of people that separate to cover more ground. Oh no, we're surrounded by monsters. Hey, there's more monsters than usual. Oh, but here is the silhouette of my dead not wife.
Interesting.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Oh no, I got wounded. I'd better hide it from my teammates. Because that always goes well.
Yeah, no, that's always the best possible decision you can make. 100% of the time. Instead of,
So, yeah,
getting a medic to patch you up and living to fight another day, you whack job.
Yeah,
Basically.
or a literal god.
Yeah, that would also factor in. Wow, this guy sounds like a real idiot.
Yeah. And
Okay.
the end of the event is basically Lenneth returning to the group of areas Benelus invited himself in, and acting as the cavalry. And Benelus is like, oh, Valkyrie, it's great to see you. Now we can finally push back. And she's like, who in the world are you?
Right.
So he's definitely as part of the story we haven't really focused on lately about how Arngrim and Jolanda and Mystina came to this world as well.
Right.
Which is strange because I thought that was essentially the Lizard storyline, which was more or less concluded. But I guess it's not.
I mean, if they got more to say, they may as well say it.
I'm all for them saying things because if there's one thing that I like, it's the story, and that's the only reason I'm still playing the game.
I don't blame you from everything I've heard and seen and
That
discussed.
is 100% fair.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the Valkyrie Anatomia section.
That's
Some
also
good
possibly the end of Valkyrie Anatomia. We will be looking forward to their closure announcement in a few weeks, I'm sure.
Oh my word.
Oh.
Yeah.
Give it time. Give it time. It will die when it dies.
Yes, it will.
I don't want to say that I'm looking forward to its death, but I also don't want to say that I'll be surprised or even particularly sad when it's gone, with the exception of the story, because that story has been
Honestly,
very good.
I'm almost looking forward to its death because while the story is very good, I have a strict no more than 2 gacha games at the same time policy. It used to be a no more than 1 gacha game at the same time policy, but then Valkyrie Anatomia came around.
Right.
And if it goes back, I may find myself opening myself up to some other games.
There you go.
So,
You could always come join us in Arknights. We would love to have you.
Yeah, for instance, I may dislike the art style of the characters, but not enough to actively hate it, and the game itself sounds really fun.
It is really fun.
It is very fun.
So who knows?
Who knows? And with that actually, because unfortunately Kite couldn't make it, we don't have any of his topics, so we're going to go ahead and hold that for him for next week so we don't steal his stuff. So we're going to go ahead and go to our main topic for the night. What makes a good collaboration? What does make a good collaboration in one of these games?
It's not just shoving a picture of the character on the icon and having the character be playable. I can tell you as much.
I gotta be honest.
NieR Automata event feels utterly underwhelming, even
Yeah.
before the special raffle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is such a thing as a good collaboration.
That's a spicy take. Tell us more about why you think that.
Okay, so first and foremost, collaborations almost always, not universally, but a lot of the time, feature time-limited units, which is always its own minefield in and of itself. But on top of that, your story is basically one of two modes. You have the generic, hi, we're here now story to show everybody off, and then they go back to their universe, and that's the end you ever hear of them. Or there's no story to speak of. They just are there, and maybe you'll get a boss fight if you're lucky. FFBE has at least been nice enough to give us raids, but never really any full, events.
Yeah, no, in FFB, the story, the closest thing, the story there is for the actual FF characters are the exploration mission, which is, oh, this place is strange. I think that these people I see in the distance are heroic. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that sums it up. The only exception to that was FF8, where Lid starts geeking out over the technology in what do you call it, Dollet Town, and I'm just like, that is a neat little quirk. I like that. I wish they'd do that more. And then they never did.
She likes a lot being in the Goldo Manor too.
Okay, so they actually do revisit that. I approve of this.
Her grid from season 1 just surfaced back a little. Yeah, what I did, by the way, I don't think you were made aware of that because that's pretty minor, is that for the exploration mission in FFBE, there used to be the story for the hard mode, and now what they did is that they've put the story part in the easy mode exploration, where you're going to go to get all the chests that way, and leave the hard mode just going straight from the entrance to the boss, and that's it.
Yeah, they actually, the very last exploration event I did, they did that before I stopped playing.
Nice.
So I didn't know there was a permanent change. At the time, I was just very confused as to why hard mode didn't have a story.
Yeah. Turns out
I was at the time as well.
Yep.
And I think it works pretty nicely.
Yeah, I don't know. Very often, collaborations to me just throw off the flow of the game, and while it hits that wonderful nostalgia button of, ooh, I get to have to cross over this character with this character, they just sort of there. They're limited time. They're eventually going to get power crept, and the salt is going to be real. And it just feels kind of skeevy to me. It just feels like advertisement for the sake of it, and it just bothers me a bit.
I mean,
I get that.
To give an example of what would be a collaboration done right, except it's not in a gacha game, I first have to ask, do you know the very basic 3 words elevator pitch of the 24 mine raid for Stormblood in FF14?
I believe it's just here, have FF Tactics.
Okay. And so that's what it is on the surface. But what makes it, I believe, one of the best examples of essentially a collaboration, even if it's with but good, is that they take this other game world's lore and truly make it a part of the game, to the point where it's referenced in other content, to the point where they take the existing mythologies and apply them to the rules of this other world, and they make content that's evergreen. It's not going to disappear one day.
Yeah.
And that's basically using something we know from for another game as a way to make the base existing game that's already very stronger. Contrast that with the Monster Hunter collab event, which is basically a non-canon way to get a cool dragon mount. And there's one encounter, and at least it's permanent, unlike some other collabs that were temporary, but it's basically, hey, go fight this monster that's not normal.
There you have it.
So there's the two of them in this MMO RPG, which isn't quite a gacha game, but I think it's interesting to have a good example for once, because it's pretty much certain that when it comes to a game, it's not like Ariana Grande is going to become a main character of Season 3 story.
What the hell was... I'm still very confused about both Ariana Grande and Katy Perry showing up at FFBE. That is just still baffling to me. But,
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, I know I haven't played the Stormblood raid, but I played the Crystal Tower, which is that exact thing you were talking about with FF3.
Exactly.
Like, you fight Xande. You fight the Cloud of Darkness. It is very likely the Cloud of Darkness is the exact same Cloud of Darkness you fought in FF3.
And did it feel out of place in FF14?
No, they tied it together very well, and they made it make sense. And I was even at a part where, like, they talked about the history of what went down here, and I kind of had to stop and go, well, were these characters' names, were these ancient heroes' names Luneth, Ark, Refia, and Ingus? Like, because that's kind of what it feels like you're implying right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's an other content like that literally name drops some of the characters from FF5. But as part of FF14.
That is definitely the exception to the crossover rule. Like, that felt really good. And if I, that Crystal Tower content came out literally years ago. I did it a little while ago. I was gushing about my Puff of Darkness earlier. I'm going to gush about her again. I have a little pet Cloud of Darkness who follows me around, and it's amazing. And I was able to do that years after the event debuted.
Yeah, and it's just one thing that exists in its bubble. It's a central part of the main scenario of the latest expansion too.
Wait, for real?
It's technically optional content, but the producer went ahead and, before the expansion launch, basically asked player very insistently, that they really should do this raid.
Okay.
That's cool.
That's
I like
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the other weird things to take in, and stay with me on that one, pro wrestling.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain this one.
In pro wrestling, there's the top tier people that do the main events a lot. Your Hulk Hogan's and your John Cena's and the household known names. But a pro wrestling show is pretty long, so there's this concept of the people that basically are a constant reservoir for challenges for the top guys, and then they fight amongst themselves. And if some of them get over, if they get popular, they can become the top guys themselves, and we call that the mid-card.
I mean, they call the mid-carders that in MMA as well, but that's a very different animal.
Okay. I don't know enough about MMA to...
it's mostly an MMA boxing thing. Basically, you have your main event, and then the mid-card is literally on the middle of the card. And they're the fights that lead up to the main event. Yeah,
and so that's a thing in wrestling too. And given that it's scripted in nature, there's a concept that's a bit lost in some promotion and literally carrying others, which is to elevate the mid-card. It's something like when they say bring back a retired wrestler that was very popular and is back on the front, and there's this mid-carder that goes to challenge them. The bad collab, we're tying back to the main topic, the bad collaboration example would be the top carder going and stomping the younger guy because he doesn't have 20 years of experience, and what is he even going on about?
Okay.
The good collab is the top guy either giving a run for his money to the hungry mid-carder, or outright losing to them as a way to elevate them, to make them feel like more of a threat. To have them go, oh, AJ Styles just kicked Ric Flair. Maybe this AJ is not such a small fry after all. And that's a way to bring other people, other elements for people that aren't necessarily following the day-to-day or what you're playing, and using it to make the core of your game, to get back to the game, to get the core of your game more relevant, to elevate it. Yeah.
Right.
and to bring things not just as an advertisement and a cash grab, but to make your game as a whole better.
Right.
That's
No,
what
I
a good
completely
collab
agree
is.
with that.
Yeah, I gotta say, I hadn't really thought about what makes a good collaboration before, but you guys definitely bring up some good points. If it's not gonna make your base game stronger, or basically improve your game in some way, and it's just there for the cash grab, then it's not. Well, it's beneficial for the players in that they can have that nostalgic feel. It's not like actually beneficial in the long run.
Yeah.
It's essentially players paying to become an ad in a friends list.
Fair enough.
It's very silly. It's very silly. I find that very silly.
And most of the collabs, even games we like, that's what it is.
Yeah. I didn't like spending all that money on 2B and A2. I just really wanted to do it in FFBE. The fact that they're sitting on my desk is an example of why. But did I have to?
Literally, when it came to FFBE, that's literally the event that brought me back to the game after the game literally fried my iPhone.
But that brings the question, did that elevate the game? And the answer to that is no, not really. They were just sort of there. We got really cool music for a couple of weeks. We got really cool characters out of it who lasted very long, and then they got their 7-star and one was amazing, and the other one sadly got shortlisted.
But essentially, we only got to kill Engels 5,000 times, and that was it.
Yeah. It didn't really give us anything interesting. Like, give us the Eve fight. Give us Simone. Give us, like, an actual event. Or maybe don't. Maybe don't bother with this at all. It was just there to bring in people and make morons like me spend money, and I guess in that regard it worked. But it feels dirty to me. It just doesn't feel pleasant. I'm not a fan.
It's just a promotional stint. It's a way to grab in the players, but not a way to make them stay.
That's
how most collabs work.
Very accurate. And on that sobering note, I think that is all the time we have. My gear managed to survive for this entire episode somehow.
Yay!
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will be back next episode, because I can't promise next week right now. We'll be back next episode for more of the games you love to hate. Thank you, guys.
Have a good one, all.
And looking forward to seeing you next episode, Kite. Hopefully we can get your stuff handled. Take care, y'all.
Yes, indeed.